Stories are the most powerful thing on earth. They are literally life and death. Wars are waged based on the story of who is the hero and who is the villain. You are the result of a story your parents told each other, the one-night stand, the soulmate, and friends who became so much more. Life and death. So wouldn't you like to understand them better, these stories? How Story Works, an elegant guide to the craft of storytelling by Lani Diane Rich, demystifies stories and helps you understand why you love what you love, why you hate what you hate, and why prologues are almost always a bad idea. How Story Works by Lani Diane Rich. Available on Amazon in ebook, audiobook, and paperback form. Get your copy today.
Welcome to Still Pretty, a Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast from Chipperish Media. I'm story expert and the mission's boyfriend, Lani Diane Rich.
And I'm film scholar Noelle LaCroix. Please take me to where they can make me unconscious and naked. And we're here today to talk about Out of My Mind, the 4th episode of Season 5.
Out of My Mind aired on October 17th, 2000, and was written by Rebecca Kirshner and directed by David Grossman.
Still Pretty is a fully spoiled Buffy podcast because discussion, analysis, and critique are just more fun when we can come right out and tell you who hooks up, who dies, and who starts abusing their ever-increasing magical powers. Listen, Buster, I don't see a crossbow in your hands, okay? All right, let's go on patrol. In Out of My Mind, Buffy's out patrolling when both Riley and Spike crash the party, and both equally annoy Buffy. Xander, Tara, and Anya are helping Giles put the magic shop together. And when Buffy and Willow show up, Giles takes her into the back to her training area, which is great if you ignore Riley.
What's the matter? Afraid of a little competition?
Harmony shows up at Spike's lair looking for a place to hide from the Slayer, who is hunting her. Spike allows her to stay if she has sex with him, and she agrees. He tells her that she's going to have to kill Buffy, or Buffy will kill her.
I tried. It was all hard and stuff.
At the Summers house, Joyce is making breakfast when she has a spell. She asks who Dawn is and then collapses on the floor. Buffy and Riley rush to the hospital and talk to Ben, the intern who's been hanging out with Dawn while Joyce is being tested. As he reports the results to Buffy and Riley, Dawn uses Ben's stethoscope to listen to everyone's hearts. Buffy and Ben's are normal, but Riley's is racing. They see a doctor who tells Riley that it's serious, but he insists on leaving the hospital, telling Buffy that his body just works differently.
But you're still a human, Riley. You could still have a heart attack.
I'm a human who was used as a lab rat for months.
At home, Joyce is apparently fine, but she's more concerned about Riley, and so is Buffy. Buffy figures it has something to do with the initiative, but she doesn't know how to get in touch with them until Dawn gives her an idea. If they're spying, just say something you know they'll hear. Buffy goes to Riley's apartment and picks up the phone, telling the dial tone that Riley is in trouble. At Riley's pickup basketball game, Graham shows up with a couple of initiative goons and tells Riley he needs to have an operation. Riley refuses, fighting off Graham and his initiative goons before running away. So Graham turns to Buffy.
There's a specialist waiting at Sunnydale General, 4th floor neurology. Get Riley there. If you don't...
I'll get him there.
At the magic shop, everyone gathers with Buffy to try to figure out where Riley has run off to. Xander and Anya go off to look for Riley, and Buffy thinks that he might have gone to the Initiative Caves. But the only person who knows the caves is Spike, and Buffy's in no mood for his nonsense at the moment, but she breaks into his lair and holds up a handful of cash under his nose.
Say, look at those pretty pieces of paper.
At the hospital, Spike and Harmony kidnap the Initiative doctor at Crossbow Point, take him to a university medical school, and demand that he take out Spike's chip, which seems like a predictable outcome. The doctor warns that it might not work, but Spike isn't worried.
Removing it could leave you a vegetable. That's not going to happen, mate. See, I have faith in your survival instinct.
Buffy finds Riley in the Initiative Caves, and he whines that she's stronger than him, and if he gets the surgery, he won't be powerful enough for her. Which is full-on stupid, and Buffy tells him so, then forces him to go to the doctor, where they find Graham and his buddies knocked out. He tells them that Spike and Harmony took the doctor, and Buffy sees the hole in her logic when she told Spike there was an initiative doctor in town.
He's gonna force the doctor to move the chip from his brain.
They split up to look for Spike and the doctor. Meanwhile, at the university operating room, the doctor says the chip is out. He stitches Spike back up, and Buffy and Riley bust in. But when Spike tries to bite Buffy, his chip activates. The doctor pulled a fast one. Riley collapses in the middle of the fight, and Spike and Harmony run out while the doctor tends to Riley. Buffy leaves Riley to go check up on her mother, and Graham walks Riley out of the university, giving him something to think about.
You used to have a mission, and now you're what? Mission's boyfriend? Mission's true love?
At Spike's lair, Buffy busts in, ready to finally stake Spike. He tells her to just do it, baring his chest to her. She raises the stake, about to do it, but hesitates. He grabs her and kisses her, and then they make out passionately. He tells her he loves her, and then wakes up from the dream in a cold sweat.
Oh, God, no. Please, no.
Can vampires sweat?
I imagine if they did, it would be cold, though, right?
Aren't we unholy by definition?
Are we unholy by definition? All right, so Noelle, here we are, Out of My Mind, season 5, episode 4. And I don't know. What do you think about this episode?
Previously on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Riley is having some sort of like identity crisis about the initiative. And then he's having an identity crisis about the initiative again.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't hit that. We didn't do that story the way we wanted to before. So we're going to do it one more time, I guess. But oh my God, I'm so tired of this relationship and the weird way it's treading water. They need to, like, Buffy and Riley. Excuse me while I just like pull the flames off the sides of my face. Like,
I know.
They need to break up. Like, so hard.
Yeah.
Or they need to have an actual conversation sometime when they're not all emotionally heightened and flooded and shit is crazy and going down in weird way. Like, whatever. But apparently their whole thing is that they don't talk. So then...
They don't.
Like,
they don't. And then we go through this whole thing where she's all mad at him and she's like, well, you don't trust me, you know? And I'm like, well, of course he doesn't trust you. We've already hit this. You guys,
dude, you're not trustworthy. What do you want? Like,
and she does that whole thing where like, I've opened up to you more than anyone else. You know, I've never told anybody else. Nobody else has ever seen. I'm like, oh, please.
Like, really?
I'm
but
like,
also,
no.
Also, really?
Yeah.
Like,
No.
I just don't.
She and Angel used to talk all the time. They were always on the same page. She never wants to talk to Riley because I think that if she did, she'd realize that there is nothing there but arms holding them together. It's really about the arms. And he still has the arms. So
And the arms, like... The arms were looking a little deflated this episode, I have to say. Like,
wow, Mark Lucas is good. He can act so well that he can make his arms smaller.
Well, I mean, we even got a basketball montage, and I'm like, at some point, like, he just starts looking like a college guy in a tank top. Like, come on, like, this is just.
I guess when he's next to Buffy, because Sarah Michelle Gellar is such a tiny little thing. You know, I mean, he looks monstrous, you know?
Yeah, she's fun-sized, and he's the Incredible Hulk, but...
Yeah.
It's...
Next to other guys his general age and size, it's like, oh, okay.
I'm like, like, he looks kind of average college athlete-y, and that's fine, and, you know, whatever. It's fine. I don't know. Like, okay, so in the graveyard at the beginning... He's like, Buffy, what are you doing here? And she's like, my job? And I'm going, Riley, where have you been for literally the past, I don't know how many episodes? Like, have you not been paying attention? What?
Oh,
what?
No. I mean, he deliberately was holding that vampire, waiting for her to pass so he could stake it right in front of her. I mean,
it's so
the whole
ridiculous.
What are you doing here thing was like a smoke screen, though, right?
Fancy meeting you here. What's a slayer like you doing in a graveyard like this? Like,
just sit there for an hour, just punching the vampire in the face repeatedly until finally Buffy can show up and see him slay. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's very, very sad.
And like, while I really like the idea of the Riley identity plot where he's, like, he's the initiative and he has a mission and he's superpowered and he has his weird science mom giving him vitamin pills. Like, I like the idea of it, but they have to hit it so many times from so many different angles because I guess the best plots are the ones you have to explain over and over again. I don't know. It doesn't, it's like it didn't quite work or didn't quite land the first few times. So we have to do this thing again. And I don't know.
Well, the initiative was never a strong story to begin with. So to pull it into this season, I mean, I guess we're always going to have a little bit of the initiative kind of hovering over the storyline because of Spike and his chip, so there's always going to be a little bit of that. And Riley's, I always love an identity story. You know how I feel about those. Like, it's always, I really like it, but it does feel like a car that won't quite start because we keep hitting that same thing over and over and over and over again. I mean, I like a lot of the things that they're doing, like in concept. I like the idea of Riley having these, this heightened strength. It's not Slayer strength, but it's heightened, for human. Yeah. That there's a cost for that. But I think what I don't like is that it's one thing if he's like, what is my role here? Like, how am I helping you? If I don't have power, like, what am I doing here? Like, if I'm just going to end up being like kind of almost similar to the way that Angel did in the Angel episode, I Will Remember You, right? When he's talking about being just human and then he can't help in the fight, but that has to do so much with Angel's sense of purpose. And Angel's sense of purpose is a very strong theme throughout the entire run of Angel. So that like makes sense there, not just this, this toxically masculine, how will I protect you, you little tiny woman thing, that it's more of a, but this stupid thing of, if I don't have power, you're not going to want me because you only like superpowered dudes and your last boyfriend was a vampire. And I'm like, if that's how you feel that this woman feels about you, then you don't need to be in this relationship because this relationship makes you feel inferior. I mean, I think it's Riley that makes Riley feel inferior, but still, you know what I mean?
Absolutely Riley making Riley feel inferior. And I think that Riley, like, honestly, I really like the idea of all of this stuff with Riley's heart, especially like the physical heart and then the emotional heart, because he is like, he is very much his body in that his body and his training are what make him powerful and what make him a soldier in all these ways. And how I love like the body as representative of the person and all of these things. But I hate to say this, but like Riley is not a good enough character to pull off that whole like physical, emotional heart split. Like there are so many characters on this show. Yeah. Which is something I love about it. But we don't have enough time for Riley and his stuff because we have literally 6 other people at least that we care about who have been here, who we,
well, that also just have better stories. Like, I mean, Harmony. Here we've got Harmony. We very rarely see Harmony, but when we do, we are all in. Like, at least you and I are. I think most people are. Like, Harmony is one of these, like, really engaging characters. And the problem with Riley is, there's so many problems with Riley. But the problem with Riley is that he is the good-looking, quote-unquote, normal Iowa boy who turns out to be superpowered, but then can't handle his superpowers. And he's just like, he's a weak character in a bad relationship. Because the relationship with Buffy, and this is not all Riley's fault. I mean, Buffy never wants to talk to him. So we see these two in this darkness, like they have gone dark as far as all communication goes. They are radio silent with each other. She never wants to talk to him. And so his realization, last week was Xander, but she doesn't love me. Like, that's a valid realization. And if he had come to her, it it ends up coming out in this very self-pitying, I have to be superpowered, not because it's not enough for me, but because it's not enough for you. And loving
Right.
you is the scariest thing I've ever done. And it's all this stuff where he's always blaming her for how he feels, you know?
Yeah.
And then she's always like, well, if you don't trust me, well, of course he doesn't trust you.
Yeah.
You don't talk to him. You don't open up to him. You just gaslit him with the, you know me better than anybody. I've opened up to you in ways I've never opened up to anybody else. That is clearly untrue. So all of this, them together, it's a bad relationship, them together. And Riley is a poorly expressed character, I think.
Which is such a bummer because I like you. I mean, you know me and Riley. Like, I want to like Riley. I really like the idea of Riley. I really like the idea of the Slayer's boyfriend also going through his own version of, I have superpowers and a mission, but also not really. And what about what I actually want and all of these things.
Right.
But Riley doesn't have the awareness or reflection for that.
Right.
And then Graham at the end says, you used to have a mission and now you're what? The mission's boyfriend, the mission's true love. And of course that hits really hard because we know that Riley knows that Buffy doesn't feel that way about him.
Right.
But Graham knows Riley better than Riley does. And
yeah. Well, Graham is very sweet. Graham is a lot of like perception underneath a doofus exterior, because he has this look like he's just a dumb pretty boy, but I don't think that he is. I mean, he's very pretty.
Absolutely not.
He's definitely very pretty, but
his
there's
whole
more to
bit
him.
about don't apologize now, like after you know,
if you survive.
Yeah.
You know, but I also like
appreciated
that he
from
said
Graham.
they've been there for weeks talking to Riley about this. And Riley's been just ignoring them.
Oh my God, Riley.
I'm like, but you
buddy.
I mean, this is the initiative. Let's not pretend that we have like, you know, procedures and an ethics, you know, like mode to go by. Like they could have shot him with a horse tranquilizer and gotten him in weeks ago if they wanted to. You know, I mean, they could have.
There's the deleted scene that I want. Just
yeah,
and then he just drops.
Just forget they have the tranquilizers that took down Oz when he was a werewolf. I'm sorry, but Riley, even with his extra powers, is not more powerful than magical, mystical, werewolfy Oz. So, like, the idea that they don't have the power to take him in under his, you know, without his consent, and also that they would like be like,
and
well,
that they're suddenly so concerned about whether or not he'll come willingly. Like, that's really initiative of you guys.
Like, I mean, okay, granted, the initiative did have a whole big maybe they've changed their ways, you know, because of whatever, you know, internal governmental scrutiny might have come upon their whole business from last season. So I mean, maybe there's some of that, but the whole thing is just it's crazy that Graham, in the 3 lines that he has between season 4 and season 5, is still more insightful, more connected, seeing more, you know, than Riley does, and that's also like a handy thing. That's because the writers know this, and so they're having Graham stand in for, you know, them and what they know. But it's still like he's still a much more consistent and much more you know, insightful character, whereas Riley is standing there like a big doofus. And the thing is, like, I don't mind the Riley story. What I mind is the way that it's Buffy's fault that she doesn't love him enough, and that he loves her so much, and that it's so scary loving her. And it feels really whiny to me that it's not that he's like, okay, so if I can't do this, what can I do to support you? You know, what can I do to be? And here we have this, you know, episode, right, where Buffy is brought into the training room that Giles has made up for her, that Xander has built her a big dummy stuffed with straw, which is adorable.
So cute.
All of this stuff that they've done for her. And the thing is that in this moment, it shows this support team. Like, we've always had, Willow and Xander supporting in whatever way they can. But the relationship with Giles, while he was, officially with the Watchers, was a very paternalistic, very patriarchal kind of look at the Slayer as a soldier. Like, you do what we tell you to do. Mm-hmm. And Giles switching his role to like helping her and training her, but he is her support team. She is the general and he's part of her support team. And as that, like, creating this space for her shows such love and such care, and it changes the relationship of the support that Buffy gets, where Buffy is actually given respect, for what her role is. And I love that. And here we have this wonderful moment where everybody's there playing their part. Xander's making a dummy. Giles is putting this space together. It's all about serving her and supporting her. And the second she walks in, what happens? Riley tackles her, knocks her to the ground and says, "Hey, come fight me." I mean,
yeah.
Oh yeah. God, it's so bad because it's such a wonderful moment and he freaking ruins it by being an idiot.
That moment with Riley is such a bummer. Mm-hmm. And it also reminds me kind of sort of the way that the girlfriend is often portrayed in these like big hero, one heroic guy doing the heroic guy stuff stories. Like, we've talked before about Buffy being a show that likes to take take our tropes and revolve them a little bit or, twist them or whatever. But there's a kind of a missed opportunity, I think, with Riley being, I'm going to use gendered language, everyone, the girlfriend. The kind of bumbling, useless, like just here to look pretty girl that we've seen in a million stories about a million heroic men saving the world. Mm-hmm. But of course, it's because by and large, our behind the scenes folks are men. Mm-hmm. We're not actually going to do that to a guy.
Yeah.
Is kind of the sense that I get.
We have to do that to a guy.
It's like we're not. They could have gone there with Riley. Like he could have been just big and cute and pretty Iowa guy who is really just there as the mission's boyfriend and sometimes is bumbling and fucks it up because his whole purpose is to look cute, But they didn't do that because patriarchy. Like this is why we can't have nice things. Again, it's the problem of, it's the Riley problem. Yeah. Like I want him to, it's like pick a side, I want him to either have this like really deep character arc where we feel for him and he's more, I don't know, he's just given more to do. Either give him more to do or give him less to do.
I don't mind him not knowing what his role is if he's not superpowered. Because the idea of him being like, well, how am I going to be a support part of this team if I don't have these powers? Like, how am I going to help you? And him finding the way that everybody else has, the way that Xander's found his way to be helpful and supportive, the way Willow has found her way, to have Riley find his way as well. But it's not that. It's that he needs to be more powerful than her. He needs her to need him. And without being more powerful, and without recognizing that there are other ways for him to be there for her and be something that she does need, he's just, like this whole idea, like, you're what, the mission's boyfriend? Like, what the fuck is wrong with that? What are you, Graham? You're the mission's, I don't know, acquaintance. Like, whatever, So
mission,
right. But the idea that being the mission's boyfriend is not enough for Riley because he has to be the mission. He has to be the big guy. His ego cannot handle being in a support role, and just loving Buffy. Like his whole thing about, but she doesn't love me. Like, no, dude, you don't love her. Like, if you loved her, you wouldn't need to be better and bigger and stronger than her all the time. You wouldn't need to constantly show off, You know,
he's very
like,
show-offy. It's true. And
it's all about his ego.
He's very like, pat me on the head for doing a good job.
Yeah.
Like the whole, you know, like it's very cute in the graveyard, you know, let's go find some more aerodynamic vampires. But also like, no.
Yeah, it's desperate though. It's desperate, and it's like not a great look on Riley. And this is the thing, like this is the stuff. This is why I hate Riley. It's at this point, this kind of behavior, this place that they're going with him, that just feels pouty because he's not the big man. You know? And in a different show or in a different story, his story would be more compelling, I think. Well, yeah. And I mean, the thing is, like, this one, it wouldn't even, I think, maybe bother me so much if textually we were supposed to be like, yeah, Riley, shut the fuck up. Get over yourself, you know? But textually, I feel like we're supposed to be sympathetic with Riley's bullshit. And that's, I think, where this annoys me so much is that, no, I'm not sympathetic to that.
I'm just annoyed with both Buffy and Riley. Like, when they're together, I just do not,
They're
don't
both
like
bad.
that. And the fact that they only argue when they're both already upset is really not okay.
They
like,
don't have conversations.
Like, sit down and have a calm discussion / disagreement.
Right. Which she and Angel used to do all the time. So when she's like, I've never opened up to anybody, that drives me crazy because she is lying to him.
Well, and to the audience too.
And lying to the audience,
it makes me not like Buffy. Like Buffy with Riley.
Or trust Buffy.
And the way she is with Riley makes me not like her. And then I'm a little bit as a viewer like, wait, what the fuck? I thought she was the one I was supposed to be rooting for here. And I hate them both. They need to break up.
They do need to break up. But you know who
we
needs
need to move on.
never break up is Tara and Willow because, oh my God, we don't get a whole lot. But it is so sweet.
Well, what we don't get a whole lot of Tara and Willow. But what we get is so good and so, like, planting of the seeds of what is to come. It's so damn good. Oh my God.
Oh, it is.
Although, just like, pardon me while I pout in lesbian for a minute.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
In the magic shop.
Yes.
In the magic shop, Tara says, hey, you. And Willow replies, hey. And would it have killed them to make it, hey, sweetie, or hey, baby, or hey, something term of endearment-y? Like, I can't.
Oh, no. You know what? I totally understand. I completely understand where you're coming from. Because we don't allow that, right? We have to always play the lesbian stuff under the... And this is a problem of not enough stories. Right? We don't have enough lesbian stories. We don't have enough LGBTQ stories where we get that. Where they're allowed to be openly, clearly demonstrative, you know. At the same time, I think "Hey You" and "Hey" are so sexy, like because there's something the way that they play them, right? I think that it's Tara and Willow and Amber Benson and Allison Hannigan that are bringing to that. But the "Hey You" and the "Hey," my heart flips. I mean, it just does. But I get your point, and you're absolutely right. And it's not enough stories. That's the problem.
Also, it was 2000. Like this, I have said it before. We'll say it again. This relationship was a big fucking deal because of what it represented for television and representation at the time, and all the things. And it just. I don't care. It's 20 years later. I'm still bummed out. Like,
I get it.
Let them be just a little bit more into each other. But they do play it. They play it so sweet and so in love. And when Willow gives Tara her hands to read, and she says, "What do you see?" And Tara says, "Willow hand."
Oh,
and I'm
my
just
God.
like, okay, all right.
And the looks between them. Like, here's the thing. Like, Buffy and Spike have, like, sexual heat. And I'm not saying that Tara and Willow don't.
Oh, they
but Tara and
absolutely
Willow,
do.
And, well, they do. No, they absolutely do. Like, when Tara gives her that look, it's hot. Like, it's, you know, and they bring a lot of that to it. But what they also have, though, like, in addition to that, which I really, is just this, like, love. Like the love with the two of them is so, I mean, just there. It's palpable, you know?
Well, and
I love it.
Well, the look, like that look that we should all be so, you know, I
Get
wish
you
for
someone
everyone
who looks at you the way that Tara looks at Willow. Yeah.
Right. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, she's just
know.
like, this is the most, you know, delicious, decadent dessert in the entire world. Like, somebody just gave you the you know the sweet treat that you like most in the whole world, and you are gonna savor it later. Like, it's just so good,
so nice.
They're so wonderful together. But there's this great little seed of a little itty bitty baby conflict developing between them when they're walking through the burnt out school looking for Riley. And Willow magics up some light. And she says, isn't this better than using a flashlight like some kind of doofus?
Right.
I mean, we've hit on this a few times previously, and we're hitting it again in this episode with Willow being snobby about the newt's eyes earlier at the magic shop. And now, you know, she's tinkering with this spell that Tara gave her. You know, Tara's just like, how'd you do that with the light? And Willow's like, oh, you taught me. And Tara's like, no, I did not. No, ma'am. Like, not like this. And Willow says that she tinkered with it. This kind of like, you know, Tara, for as magical as she is still very practical. Yeah. In the, we should have brought a flashlight. Right. Like, she still doesn't go to magic to solve every problem.
No, magic is her last resort. If there's something, you know, if you can solve it any other way, if you can use a flashlight, don't use the magical light, because I think she understands that there's a cost to magic, you know.
And what I love is that when Willow goes to the table where Tara is fantasizing about having a psychic, you know, do readings for the magic shop, Tara is holding the tower card. She's holding an oversized Rider-Waite-Smith, which I love. Great choice, production design, so that we can see it even in that, you know, that like medium shot. We don't need a close up on the tarot deck to see that it's the tower. She's holding it. She's holding the deck face up with the tower card is facing Willow. So it's upright for Willow and it's reversed for her.
Oh, man.
And I'm just like, okay, like I'm deep in my tarot feels. But
okay, do you want to explain what the tower is for anybody listening who doesn't know?
All right, the tower card. So the tower card in the... Well, first of all, when you think of tarot cards, most people, what they have seen is Pamela Coleman Smith's art for Arthur Waite. And what you see in the tower card is a stone tower that is being struck by lightning. Sometimes the top of it is blowing off. People are falling almost certainly to their deaths. And if you get this card in a reading, it usually means something huge is coming to an end. Yeah. It is collapse of structure. It is, you know, internal, external. So it can be, you know, it can be the end of a relationship. It can be the end of a job or a path in your life. But it can also be just a serious shakeup. And it's one of those cards that gets labeled like the bad cards. But really,
no, because the tower is built on a faulty foundation. So when you build something in your life that is based on a faulty foundation, eventually it is going to collapse. And when it does, you can rebuild something stronger. You know, and I think that for me is always the symbol of the tower, but it does mean that there's an ass whooping coming. Like there is a reckoning that is coming, in which you have to acknowledge that everything that you've built is poorly built and it needs to be torn down. And if you don't tear it down, something else is gonna, you know?
Yeah. Well, and it's also the like, you have to lose everything to move on kind of messaging, which is sort of where we're going
Yeah.
with Willow. Maybe not
Mm-hmm.
even sort of.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely where we're going with Willow. It's going to take another season to get there, but yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just like, of all, it's a 70, Bad Witch moment. 78, 72 card deck. There are more than 70 cards in a standard tarot deck. So, again, I say it all the time on this show, and I will continue to say it all the time. Visual media, if you see something within the frame, it was probably chosen
with
by
thought
someone
and deliberately,
with
yes.
thought. Yeah. So
Yeah.
of all of the cards, I mean, she could have been holding out the Two of Cups, which would have been like, sexy and romantic, but she's holding the Tower, you guys. Like that's a big like foreshadowing, at least for me.
Sign that things are about to fall apart. And I mean, even if you just look forward, even if you're not thinking about what happens in season 6, I mean, in the rest of season 5, Tara, Glory gets Tara, and that is a huge loss and a huge moment for Willow. It's when she digs deep and finds, more of that magic, like the very things that Tara is worried about and will be worried about as we, move forward with the two of them. Willow's use of magic is something that concerns Tara, and you can even see it in this moment, when Tara says, well, I just showed you the little Tinkerbell thing. And she's like, well, I tinkered with the Tinkerbell. And you can see the concern on Tara's face even back then.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Tara is always very, very careful.
Yeah.
And Willow is really not. And we're seeing it more and more.
Yeah.
But it comes from, it's just such a great character development aspect for Willow, because we do see Willow trying so hard to fix things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even in this episode, when Willow suggests to Joyce, like Joyce is on the couch and Willow's like trying to figure out things to do to help, to help her feel better. Some people say feed a cold, I say puzzle it, and suggesting making a game out of being a lump. And then, later apologizing to Buffy about trying too hard to make things better with Riley. Like, Willow just wants to make it better. And now she's got access to magic.
She's a fix-it person, and she has this extra power.
It's this very it's this very like Bob the Builder attitude, like we can fix it. Like,
we can fix it. Well, yeah, and I think that that's really interesting. I do like that moment with Willow too, where she's like, I'm trying too hard to make it okay, because I am that friend. I am absolutely.
You are absolutely that friend.
Noelle knows, because poor Noelle has had me do this to them like so much, because I just am always like, let me fix it, and I
such
can't.
a loving place. It comes from that loving
but
place
it's
of
annoying.
like but it comes from that place of like one of the many benefits of having close friends is that they see you from the outside, so they can be like, okay, here's what you need to do. Like, here's your checklist.
Right.
But you don't always, depending on what the situation is and all of the nuance and, all of that, all of that complex emotional bullshit, whatever, you may not need someone to fix it. Like, fixing it may not be the thing that's actually helpful.
Right.
But I love seeing Willow in the, like, fix it, make it better, make it right kind of
No,
mode.
I very much identify with that desperation to fix everything. I am that friend. It is a good thing I don't have access.
I am not okay.
It's a good thing I don't have access to magic, because I am not going to lie, I would do exactly what Willow does. I would be absolutely on that path. The idea of having the power to fix the things that are broken.
So in a couple seasons, when we meet Dark Lani, don't be surprised. Is that what you're telling
baby?
me?
Dark Lani is a few exits back on the highway. We hit Dark Lani a long time ago. It's just that Dark Lani didn't have the power to do the things.
I just want to see you in the full eye contacts. Is that wrong?
Oh yeah, no, I can do that for you. I'll do that. I'll cosplay Dark Willow for Halloween this year. How's that?
Yes, please.
My hair should be just about long enough at that point that I can pull that off. So
you do. You have Willow hair.
I do
You've
have
got
willow
that,
hair.
like, cute kick. How did I never notice that you've got
do
the
have
kind
willow
of
hair. Yeah. Now that
Anyway.
I've finally grown out of, the Karen hair, the
Karen-
speak to your manager hair. This is why you never go into a beautician and say, you know what, just do whatever you want. I don't care. Because I did not ask for that hair, and it has been a year, and it's just now growing out. So, yeah.
You don't enjoy looking like a Fox News anchor?
No, I really, really don't. I don't think that it matches my personality. But now I've got flippy pink willow hair. My hair is very pink. It's dyed pink, and it's all flippy. And it is, when I have it out straight, it is very willow hair. And I love Willow's hair. I love Willow's flippy hair. I think it's very, very cute.
Season 5 Willow appearance-wise is just it's so good. It's so good.
Cute.
We'll get there when
cute.
we
And
get there.
Tara,
Holy
though, if we're going to talk
mackerel.
about, if we're going to take a moment to talk about pretty, holy shit. I mean, Tara is like, the eyes that she gives Willow, like, are just so, she's got this smoky, sexy thing going on. And you know what? It's pretty awesome. I like it.
It's great. It's great. Yeah. Get you a witchy partner who looks at you the way
Tara
looks at Willow.
Tara looks at Willow. Absolutely is what everybody should do. But what is also sexy in this, for a very, very, hard one segue, in this episode is the competence, right? Like, this is the thing that I love. I love when they're all put in the magic shop together, right? And Xander is building something, and he's got blueprints, and he's measuring twice and cutting once, and he's putting all this stuff together and making it happen. And it's like one of the first times that Giles and Xander have been working together, where Giles hasn't been like, oh my God, you're a fucking idiot. Like, he's actually being helpful and being useful, and he's found his role, which I love, that he can build shit. I think that's fantastic.
Xander doing carpentry at the magic shop is my love language.
It is, isn't it? When he puts that shelf in and it fits perfectly, and he's like, carpentry's pretty awesome. And I'm like, oh, I love grown-up Xander with identity and purpose. Yes.
And I love Xander being the one building things.
Yes.
Like, come on. It's so good. It's so good.
It is. It's so nice. And then right after that, we move straight into Anya, knowing what magical items should not be on the shelf together. Do you want to be picking monkey brains out of our hair? I love that from Anya. I love when we give Anya that competence, when we give Anya, like, we allow for Anya's competence and knowledge, which she has been building up over a millennium. So let's use it, Yeah,
dude. Like, if anyone knows magical supplies, it should be Anya.
Yeah.
Realistically, right?
Yeah.
Maybe?
I mean, she's been doing this stuff for a long time, So, I mean, she is beyond PhD level. In this arena. Yeah. So I love that we have that competence from her. I love that we have Tara setting up the, like the table for doing readings. And so we have her kind of like mystical expertise being part of the team, and she's helping out. Everybody has a role to play except Riley, who's just in the back waiting to tackle Buffy to a cement floor when she comes in. Like, Buffy doesn't get knocked around enough on a daily basis that this idiot's got to tackle her. But anyway, we already talked about that. And we talked about Buffy's training room, which again I absolutely love, and I love the way that we have moved the support the way that the support network has shifted in purpose to something that is more appropriate to her role. As opposed to this Watcher command center, the Slayer is just a nameless soldier kind of thing, which is what we had for the first few seasons. So I love that. And then we've got Dawn. I kind of love Dawn.
She's so dear.
She's so sweet.
I'm sure there's a point where I'm going to bounce hard off of Dawn. I know a lot of people don't like her, but I don't know. There's something very sweet about her. And maybe it's because I have some, kids that age in my life.
Yeah.
My friends' kids and like chosen family type nieces and nephews and whatever the non-binary equivalent of nieces and nephews is. Oh my god,
nibblings. Are they nibblings? I think they're nibblings. I know, I really do.
That
I
sounds
think
like a delicious snack item.
it does sound like a delicious snack item. Here's the thing. I'm not looking it up. I'm going to tell you that somebody at some point told me it was nibbling, and I believed them. That may not be true. Because there's nibbling and there's sibling, right? And so I think it's like from niece, nephew, sibling, but sibling is the non-gendered,
Sibling
you know.
Yeah.
So I think it's nibbling, but if it's not, then we'll just coin that now. Now it is. Somebody lied to me and played a joke on me and thought it was funny. I think it was my kid, actually, who told me it was a nibbling, and I believed her.
That completely sounds like the kind of let's fuck with mom wordplay that would go on at your house for sure.
Oh yeah, no, it was the younger child too, because she is absolutely the one who would do that to me. And so like
the younger child who says things with great authority and a totally straight face, and you're like, oh okay, that's real, and she does.
She's always very certain that she's right. Mm-hmm. She's not always right. She's always very certain that she's right. And it's kind of adorable. And this was years and years and years ago when she told me that, but it always sounded like it made sense to me. I was like, nibbling, that makes sense. So anyway, I believe that the point you were making about Dawn is that you have tons of found family nibblings in that area.
I have much chosen family that includes children in the 12 to 16 range. Yeah. And they're so sweet. That's
my favorite age.
They're annoying, but they're also so delightful.
I love
Dawn
that age. Yeah.
hits that for me.
I know.
The sweetness of that. I like chicken fingers and mustard when I'm sick. You know, it's like, yeah, baby.
Oh, God, and the Fidel Castro thing, which actually ends up being useful. Right? She's got all these conspiracy theories with Fidel Castro that actually give Buffy the idea of how to get in touch with the Initiative, although apparently they've already been there for weeks, so it doesn't matter anyway, but whatever. But I mean, I love that Dawn is there, you know, for Buffy with Willow in that scene, and I think that that's really nice. And part of that, I'm sure, is that Buffy's including Dawn because Dawn just saw her mother collapse and was at the hospital all day, and that's not a good day to like say, hey, sit by yourself in your room, you know.
Right.
And Dawn also is the one who discovered Riley's heartbeat with her curiosity. I love her curiosity with the stethoscope. Curiosity, just blanket curiosity with no real purpose, just general curiosity, I think, is one of the most endearing qualities that any human can have, just genuine curiosity. And so I love the curiosity that drives her to listen to everybody's heart with the stethoscope. I think that that's real cute. You know, it's just really nice. I know there are times when Dawn gets annoying. I think mostly in season 6 for me, Dawn is real tough, and then I like her again in season 7. But this Dawn, her government conspiracy theories. Oh, and remember when conspiracy theories were cute?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
When that was an enjoyable pastime.
When they were cute and harmless, you know, and funny. Yeah, I remember that. Anyway, so Dawn, I think, is just like really adorable and sweet in this episode. And I love when Buffy rushes into the hospital and immediately goes and hugs Dawn. I love that affection between them because we've seen them, you know, battling with each other mostly through this season so far, just that standard kind of sibling, you know, irritation. But I like seeing the love relationship between them too.
Yeah. And like I say, I occasionally have bad taste in characters, but I just love Dawn. I love everything Dawn.
I think there's a lot to love about Dawn. I really do. I think that there's complicated things that happen because of Dawn, and we don't really need to get into that too much. But also we can take note, since we are a spoiled podcast, that this doofus intern Ben is going to be a thing.
He's okay. First of all, A+ job with the casting.
Yes.
Does he not look like the child they just made a doctor? I mean,
he does, and he's got the floppy haired thing going on, so we know that he's immediately suspect.
He is adorably like young doctor-y, and I'm just like, oh, here we go.
He's straight off the set of Grey's Anatomy, you know?
Yeah.
And that actor will actually later go on to work on a Shondaland production known as How to Get Away with Murder. So, and it's funny because the character that he plays on that is so different from Ben. Like, I watched a few episodes before I was like, how do I know this guy? And I'm like, oh, it's Ben, you know?
That's always so enjoyable. That is so enjoyable when someone that you've seen in one context plays
does something completely different.
role.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, no, it's wonderful. I just saw, to go completely off topic, I just saw Knives Out with Chris Evans, otherwise known as Captain fucking America, and it was so fun. Oh, it's so fun. You should really, really watch it. But it was so fun to see him in a completely different context. Very, very fun.
My favorite Chris Evans is Snowpiercer Chris Evans.
I have not seen Snowpiercer.
Oh my God. Well, and it's great stunt casting of Captain America as this particular hero. Like, anyway, he's not Captain America at all, but the fact that he's known as Captain America and then is playing this
something.
part.
Yeah. It brings an extra textual little bit of spice to a lot of these characters that he plays, but he does a really good job on his own. But anyway, this is not a Chris Evans
Welcome
podcast.
To Still Pretty, a Chris Evans podcast from Gibberish Media.
When we're done, we're getting towards the end of Buffy. Like when we're done, I wouldn't mind doing an episode about Chris Evans.
A Chris
just
Evans
one
podcast?
that's just Chris Evans. Just Chris Evans, Still Pretty. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe
we'll just keep calling it Still Pretty. We just go forward.
You know why? Because Chris Evans is still pretty. He is. He's always pretty. So anyway, back to all of this nonsense since we're here to talk about Buffy today. Whatever. So the other thing that, of course, I need to talk about at length is Spike, because, oh my God, I love all of it. I love watching Dawson's Creek in the beginning. Oh, Pacey, you blind idiot. Can't you see she doesn't love you? Which, of course, is him talking to himself, right?
And Spike and TV, always with the TV.
I know. I love it. I love it. I love it. Harmony. When Harmony busts in.
God!
And I have the clip here because it's so adorable. We have to play it.
Well. Looky here.
Is it safe? Has Buffy gotten to you yet? I saw her patrolling just now with a stake. She won't give up until she's killed me to death.
Buffy's looking for you.
Oh, of course. That's why I'm on the lam. Didn't you hear? I'm totally her arch nemesis.
Is that right? I must have missed the memo.
There was a Spike, oh my God. This is like a real emergency.
All right. When she says this, I love the way that he looks at her. He is so charmed by how adorable she is. And he never appreciates or respects her. But you can see that there is a genuine affection for her, that he recognizes how goddamn adorable she is.
He likes her the way you might like a pet. Like, she's not an equal in his mind, but he does, like, I think he loves her in his own weird, spiky way.
I think he loves her the way you love a pet. Like, definitely. Yeah. You don't respect... I mean, okay, you should respect your pets, but but he doesn't respect her as an equal, clearly.
Yeah. But your pets will also try to eat a bug off the ceiling. That's not...
And then barf it up on your floor. Yeah, that's, because that's what pets do, right? They're cute, but they're annoying. And I think that this is where, we have this thing with Spike and Harmony. And then when he says, well, clearly you're going to have to kill her, she's like, can you do the thinking for me? And he's like, yeah, I guess I can help you with that.
It's so cute.
But Spike's not a thinker. I mean, this is the thing. Spike's strength isn't thinking either. He feels his way through things, and that's why he screws up so much. And if he didn't have so much delight armor, he would have died a million times by now.
But I think he thinks he's good at thinking.
Yes, I think that he does think that.
He thinks he's good.
But he has some self-awareness about this, though. We see him have that awareness later on, when he talks to Buffy, But
at the beginning, when he's monologuing, I think he really...
He really thinks.
I think he really believes that he is the biggest badass with the best plan. And then, of course, he turns around and just drops into an open grave.
Which is so perfect. This is what I love about Spike, is that we give him that incompetence and that vulnerability while at the same time loading him down with menace and passion. And the way that he is about the Slayer, and he's like, I am going to taste, I'm going to make your neck my chalice, and this whole thing, only to have him wake up and realize that he is in love with her. In the end, And I love that. And the thing is, like, this whole moment when Buffy walks in and they start making out is one of these things that you see happen in TV shows where they just, two characters have chemistry, and regardless of whether it would never happen, the show forces it to happen, right? And in this moment, when I was watching it, I thought, oh, God damn it, show, this isn't earned. Like, I love the two of them. I think that they have this, and we have a couple of things where she's like, if I wanted that, I'd be dating Spike. If I wanted superpowers, I'd be dating Spike, and like all this kind of stuff, where the way that she talks about him, the way that he talks about her, clearly foreshadowing this relationship that they're going to have. But at this point, it's not earned. Like, Buffy would never in a million years ever, for any circumstance, like at this point in the story, believably make out with Spike. And so in the moment, I thought it was something that was being forced, and breaking character to do it. I was pissed off about it. And then when he wakes up and realizes that he's in love with her, oh, please no, I love that moment. I think it's so good. And I love the fake out. Like, I don't usually like a fake out, but I liked that one.
I don't like this fake out at all. At all. I don't like it. I like where it takes things for Spike.
Yeah.
But I don't like it. And I can't
like
tell
that it
you,
played on my presumptions and lack of trust in TV writers. They got me, But ordinarily, I don't like fake outs either. So I'm actually I'm with you philosophically on it. But for some reason, it doesn't. I enjoy it. Maybe just because it's Spike and Buffy.
I mean... Also, they do a great job.
It's hot. Yeah.
Well
although whenever
done.
whenever Spike and Buffy kiss, they both look like they're in pain. I'm like, are you just mashing your faces together? Like, what is going on here?
Yes. That's not how you do that. I don't think it's working. No. You don't just mash your heads together as hard as possible.
It looks uncomfortable whenever they kiss. Like, it's hot, but it just looks uncomfortable. I don't know. Yeah. But this whole thing, I love all of this stuff with Spike. I love his relationship with Harmony. This moment where Buffy comes in and tells him to go get Riley, which in the end she does anyway. She finds him there on her own. And the fact that Buffy did not foresee that telling Spike that there was an initiative doctor in the vicinity was going to make him. And when he says, I'll have half up front, and she rips it in half and gives it to him.
I mean,
I like that. It's good. It's good stuff.
I like that she shows her hand a little bit, though, with Spike. That the way, just as forceful as she is with him, I'm like, that's not really warranted. And we know at this point that Spike has feelings for Buffy.
Right.
Even before our fake out at the end, we know.
Yeah.
But Buffy is clearly more interested in Spike than she realizes.
Oh, she's way more passionate about Spike when she's vowing to kill Spike than she is ever passionate about Riley.
Yeah, she's always kind of like, Riley. Oh, yeah. Although I love the moment at the beginning where Riley wants to stake more vampires because he's stoked on staking, and Buffy's like, we should just go home unless you want to go kill Spike for fun.
She has a little fantasy about killing Spike.
There's this little moment where they look at each other and they're both sort of waiting for the other one to give the okay on killing Spike. It's very cute, but Buffy clearly to me, seems to kind of have a little thing for Spike.
She has Spike on the brain. Absolutely, she does. And I think there's definitely a feeling there. There's a reason why she doesn't kill him. I mean, up until now, it's been largely delight armor from the writers, but I think it's textually, even at this point, there's a reason why she doesn't kill him, and it's not entirely about the chip. I think that when they worked together at the end of season 2, when he was there he was there for her, not necessarily as an emotional support, but as a partner when Angel couldn't be. And the two of them worked well together. And I'm sorry, but when you work well with somebody, there's a connection there, So Yeah, I don't know. I find that real nice. And I think that might lead us, rather nicely into what are you wearing, Noelle?
Well, obviously, a button front shirt in my dream, so I can just throw it off quickly and expose my bare chest. That's the
Absolutely.
tell right there. That
Yes.
fucking button down. I'm like, oh no. This
Yeah.
is a dream. Spike would
Yeah.
never do. Like, that is some angel wardrobe.
That is some
Right
angel
there.
wardrobe. That is very angel-y.
But also,
Yeah.
as anyone who has ever like tried to sexfully take off a t-shirt knows, it's not easy.
There's no. That is very hard.
You get your
that is
head
very
stuck
hard.
in the anyway.
Getting
Yeah,
undressed
it's-
in general is always much, much more awkward than the strippers in the TV shows make you think.
Well, it's one of my favorite things about sex, or even like sex adjacent moments
Yes.
on camera, is so often it's like, and suddenly they're naked, or suddenly
Yeah.
like this item of clothing just like magically disappears, and I'm like, okay, but how? But how?
Right.
Because we all know.
Yeah.
We all know getting dressed, getting undressed, it's not good. But a button front shirt, you can just like throw that shit off, and then
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
great. It's great.
It's real good.
But it's also not something that Spike would wear. So it's this tiny little clue.
Yeah, it is. It is very angel-y. I didn't really think about that, but it is
Very
very
angel-y.
angel
Spike
wardrobe.
is-
That's an angel shirt.
White t-shirt with the
Yeah.
pack of cigarettes rolled up in the sleeve.
Right.
I mean, that's not. So unless you're just gonna like Incredible Hulk and just like rip the t-shirt open, and that feels like too much.
It
No,
feels
it's
a
gotta
little
be a
bit
button
much.
front.
Yeah,
Gotta
it's
be a
gotta
button front.
No, it works.
we
It
talk-
works real nice.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about Willow looking just like the best and the cutest
Yeah,
that she's
yeah.
ever looked, because Willow just gets
And
better.
Tara
guess.
with that beautiful shawl that she's wearing when they go into the magic shop. She's doing the Willow hand reading.
Yeah.
That's real
And
nice.
They both have these like long dangly earrings on, which is an interesting choice. It makes them look kind of, I don't know, I want to say grown up. Maybe.
Yeah.
There's something to the choice of jewelry for Willow and Tara that,
Yeah.
I don't know, it does
Yeah.
something to me. I like it.
I like it.
But Willow
like
also
it.
still has her like funky knitted cardigans
Fuzzy
going.
sweater. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
The
it's very Willow. It's an evolution of Willow, but it's very, very Willow.
Cunning sweater set.
Yes. I personally, and this brings me into the girl power moment of the week.
Oh, not with a girl pal bitch.
I personally really like Harmony's favorite accessory, which is the crossbow.
Oh my god.
Harmony.
The crossbow that she doesn't know how to use.
The string is slippy. It's hard. It's so hard.
I love Harmony saying that she tried to kill the Slayer, but it was hard
But
and
it's
stuff.
so hard and stuff. I know. Oh my god, I
Oh,
love
honey.
Harmony. Harmony is my girl power. I swear. I love when she's just hanging out with the doctor and like irritating him so much. And oh look, it looks like a little Easter egg inside all the little grass. It's
Oh
so,
my god.
I mean,
I read in a magazine that a man's real sex organ is his brain.
no contest.
No contest. I adore
my God,
her.
it's so
There's
cute.
something very girl powery about Harmony just like giving no shits. Like
Harmony's lack of self-awareness leads to her trying things and being things that like you wouldn't if she knew what she was. And then something about that is adorable. It's like his whole thing. Look at you prancing around like you the big bad. A couple of episodes ago Spike said that to her, and it's adorable, and it's really, really cute.
And Harmony taking up smoking because
Yes.
I'm a villain.
I'm a villain.
Duh. And
It's just so cute.
I don't know. I love her. I love her so much.
I like the power in her. There is power in her lack of self-awareness and lack of self-critique. Like
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's the lack of self-critique
Yes.
that feels powerful.
It does. It does, because she's not doubting herself. She's just doing the thing. And even when she fails, she keeps trying. And that's powerful to me. I like that in her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's very, very cool. All right, Noelle, what's your favorite part?
I have so many little favorite parts, but I think my actual favorite part has to be Spike monologuing and then immediately dropping down into the open grave.
Yes.
Just,
oh, I love it.
that's his character in a nutshell. It's everything I love about him. His total seriousness and his total doofishness.
Yes.
Side by side in the same moment.
It's goofy menace, and I love it.
Yes. Yeah, that's not easy to pull off.
It is not
menace.
easy to pull off while still being a threat, like still feeling like a threat. I love the way that they put that together with him. For me, I have to say my favorite part is the dream at the end, right? Followed with a real close second, that introduction to Buffy's training room. I think that if this episode had had a little more breathing room for the significance of that moment, it probably would have landed a little bit more strongly. But I love it.
If you enjoyed this conversation and would like to join in, come find us on social media. Lani is at Lani Diane Rich on Twitter, and I am at Noelle Aloud on Instagram. And the hashtag is Still Pretty.
This episode of Still Pretty was brought to you by the Chipperish Media producers who support us on Patreon at the power producer level. These people are the reason why Still Pretty is coming to you free and ad-free right now, so thank you to our March producers, Sarah, Shelley, Kristen, Kevin, Alice, Erica, Abigail, West, and Jonathan. And this week's special message for our power producers: Harmony, is it a sodding bread box? Yes! It is a bread box.
Somebody's Blondie Bear's 20-question genius. To find out how you too can support Chipperish Media, visit patreon.com/chipperish. Other ways to show your support: rate a great review on Apple Podcasts, tell your friends about the show, or pick exploded monkey brain out of your hair.
We will be back next time with No Place Like Home, the 5th episode of season 5. Until then, there was a memo. Spike! Oh my God! This is like a real emergency.